If you're familiar at all with the name Unihertz, it's probably because of its work on the Jelly, which at the time claimed to be one of the world's smallest Android smartphones. I never actually used one personally, but there was a time that tiny Jelly made the rounds among New York's mobile journalist types, and if nothing else, it kind of consistently raised people's eyebrows. Now, this Shanghai outfit is back, and it's pitching a new phone that really couldn't be any more different than the Jelly. This is the Titan. It's a full-blown QWERTY keyboard behemoth with a square screen and a 6,000 milliamp hour battery. The absurdity doesn't end there either. The keyboard is touch sensitive, so it kind of works as a trackpad. There is, again, this weirdo 4.5-inch square screen. And if you manage to get in early on the company's Kickstarter deal, it's pretty cheap. Think around $260. For me at least, the single most absurd thing about the Titan is that it should be awful, but it isn't. Not completely, anyway. It is, however, a long way from elegant. I've been testing this for a few days now, and you probably don't need me to tell you this is still very rough around the edges. Because of that, I am willing to give Unihertz a pass on some things, but make no mistake, there is a very good chance that this phone will never be for you. For one, it's absolutely huge, and I couldn't blame anyone who wrote this thing off as a BlackBerry knockoff, because I mean, look at this thing. Look at it. It's like someone slapped a suit of armor on a BlackBerry Passport circa 2014. To Unihertz's credit, I can sort of squeeze this thing into a pocket, but my jeans are basically made of rubber, and not everyone is gonna have that kind of luck. This bulk serves a purpose though. It's to give the Titan an extra dose of rugged protection and to house that whopper of a 6,000 milliamp hour battery. I've been using this phone on and off because it's honestly pretty hard to get used to after using OnePluses and Pixels and iPhones, but I can tell you I haven't plugged this thing in about 4 days, and I still have about 20% charge left. That longevity is also due in part to the choice of chipset here. The MediaTek Helio P60 is a mid-range processor that launched in early 2018, and it's not gonna set your world on fire, but it's more than enough to keep this surprisingly clean build of Android Pie running pretty smoothly. Switching between multiple apps is a breeze, and it's actually more than enough for some light gaming. Emphasis on some. Certain games like Fortnite just refused to install entirely, but honestly, if you were even thinking about buying a phone like this, Fortnite was never going to be high on your list of priorities anyway. That said, there is enough power here to run some popular emulators, and the Titan's oddball portrait design means it is one of the better ways to play old school Game Boy games. But that's kind of besides the point. I mean, as far as Unihertz is concerned, this is a phone for outdoorsy types or people with jobs that take them far away from their desks and cubicles. I mean, how else would you explain the fact that among the phone's preloaded software, there's a level, or a plumb bob, or my personal favorite, the protractor. I don't need this, but I'm glad it's there. And then there is the keyboard, which is the reason why this phone exists at all. And really, the best thing I can say about it is that some people out there might actually really enjoy this thing. In terms of keyboard feel, Unihertz might actually be onto something. It's not exactly BlackBerry good, but sometimes it feels pretty close. The keys have a nice, if kind of shallow action to them, and they click into place with a sense of finality that will actually feel really familiar to old school BlackBerry fans. My problem is that while these keys look like they were pulled off of a BlackBerry, and even sometimes feel like they were, the keyboard itself lacks the poise and the polish that made those BlackBerries such a joy to type on. That's partially because there were only 3 rows of keys here. Crucial buttons for punctuation and all that show up on a row at the bottom of the touchscreen. Needless to say, no matter what device you're used to typing on, you're gonna have to retrain your muscle memory almost entirely if you wanna get any good at pecking out emails and messages. It doesn't help that the keyboard software here kinda stinks. More often than not, your autocorrect suggestions are totally useless, and any text input software that doesn't know to capitalize the beginning of a new sentence is basically dead to me. And again, this is stuff that could theoretically improve with updates over time. For better or worse though, we are stuck with this wide keyboard layout. If you somehow love the BlackBerry Passport, you might be alright here, but in my opinion, this keyboard layout makes it really difficult to build up any kind of considerable typing speed. I mean, your fingers have a lot of space to traverse from letter to letter. I tried writing the words you're hearing right now on the Titan, and believe me, it took a while. That might be a me problem because I never used the BlackBerry Passport, and maybe this is just how a keyboard layout like this is supposed to feel. When it's crunch time though, and you really need to lay some words down, I would take a BlackBerry Key 2 over this thing any day. You can also enable a setting to turn the keyboard into a fully touch-sensitive trackpad, just like you'd find on certain BlackBerries. It's actually really cool when you're scrolling through long websites, and it might be the only thing about the keyboard that works just as well as it's supposed to, but I have to wonder if this feature could somehow backfire. And I'm not talking about this thing suddenly flaking out on me. It's more that I could imagine BlackBerry and its lawyers somehow gearing up to sue Unihertz out of existence. It might just be an issue for my early test unit, but I do also have to mention that the backlighting on these keys is terrible. When you look at this thing in low light, the center keys are basically off, leaving only the Q and the P and the A keys on the sides looking properly lit up. Even worse, the keys don't light up after you've unlocked the phone, which obviously isn't a deal breaker when you're using this thing in broad daylight, but it is really annoying when you're trying to use the Titan at night and you have to mash the keyboard to get it to turn on and see which key is what. Clever, effective design is all about making sure the little things are well tended to, and Unihertz, well, they're not there yet. But maybe I'm being too harsh. I mean, after all, this is a pretty cheap phone that tries to do what other phone makers have long since backed away from. Like I said earlier, the Titan I've been using isn't final either, and I can see this thing maybe actually being worth using after some more polish. Maybe. Even with all that said, the Titan largely makes up for its very rough edges with pure, weirdo, QWERTY charm. I can't say this phone in its current form is anywhere near ideal, but I'm still kind of glad that a random Chinese company decided to take a shot anyway. For now, I'm going to spend a little more time putting the Titan through its paces. If you want to see us focus on facets of the phone we didn't cover in this video or work on a full-blown review, be sure to let us know and subscribe to Engadget so you don't miss whatever we come up with.